Thank you, Bill, very much. I don't quite recognize myself, but I'm very grateful for what you have said. I'm honored to be here and a little intimidated by all of these wonderful doctors and scientists. I would like to thank the Hope Fund for bestowing upon me this honor, which really means a lot. I always had a love affair with medicine and wanted to become a doctor. But as I got married at the age of 21 and started to have babies at age 23, it was not exactly a practical thing to do. After my children were a little older, I went back to school to become a psychiatric social worker. That is as far as I got on a strictly professional level. In the mid 80s, I was recommended to be an overseer at Weill Cornell Medical College, a position that I accepted with great pleasure. I also got involved with Rockefeller University and Memorial Hospital.
Well, everybody knows who Daisy Soros is.
She brings to life an attitude of wow.
She's contagious in her energy and her dynamism.
This is a woman who's fundamentally committed to joining people and making sure that they have a really rich experience.
I remember seeing Daisy as a patron of the arts who was able to give back so much. And it became aspirational to me to literally be successful in life so that I too could be a patron of the arts.
She is extremely generous as a person and is someone I think you can count on for life.
I think I got shaped in spite of my family because their life and their world was just so different. I spent 12 years in Budapest and had a pretty privileged life until 1944 when the Germans marched into Hungary and a whole different life began then. And there was bombing. I lost my mother during the war. It was not a pretty picture. My father wanted me out of the country. So I decided I wanted to go to hotel management school. So I went to Switzerland where I was for 3 years before I came to this country. I came here in 1950 and I attended Columbia and I lived at a place called the International House.
Daisy was one of our alums in the 1950s. It's a place that's been around for 100 years.
It was a student center trying to promote international living, and that's actually where I met my husband.
She and Paul chaired the 75th anniversary capital campaign for International House. There was this funny story when she was in line at the dining hall.
I hear some guys behind me speaking Hungarian.
And those guys were looking at her, and she was obviously a very attractive 21-year-old.
And I hear all of a sudden these guys saying something like, "I wouldn't mind screwing this one," meaning me. And I turned around and I answered in Hungarian, "I believe it." Now, I mean, at that point, they almost fell to the floor, you know. It wasn't Paul, but it was these guys who then introduced me to my husband. And that story is a legend in International House even today.
Her husband, Paul, who was incredible. I mean, just incredible. I remember having dinner with him and listening. He was very soft-spoken and much quieter. The two of them were opposites. It was like yin and yang.
He was an intellectual, and I was exactly the opposite. He was good looking, and he had quite a personality,
But he was a sportsman, he was disciplined. I was a social person, I was not disciplined.
I sat next to Paul at some Met dinners, found him absolutely mesmerizing. Doesn't say very much, but so smart. And the two of them together were just a wonderful compliment.
I wanted to pump him for information, and he was so much more interested in hearing about what we were working on, right? And it's so rare that you feel so seen and valued by someone in their position.
People always say, even today, I loved sitting next to Paul and him explaining something. So we were very different, but we learned from each other a lot. I always wanted to do something where I would express to the person that I feel for you. I think making a difference is just a wonderful way of paying for life.
Daisy has been a board member for 29 years. She ran the nominating committee for the Philharmonic, and she came up with more great candidates, more than anybody before or since. And she also served on the Metropolitan Opera Board, probably for just about as long.
I said to my husband one morning, you know, we really should give back or do something. A couple days later, he came and said, I have an idea. Why don't we try to get some kind of a organization where we pay or help pay tuition to immigrants so they can go to the schools where they really belong. And that's how this whole thing started.
Immigrants have a tremendous impact on our country, and we need to really support the immigration.
People need to recognize that there's an exceptional group of people that are coming here and meaningfully contributing to society in a very significant way, and are sort of oriented to giving back and oriented to creating community.
And there's something very special and very distinct and very unique about being an immigrant in the United States. We all experience some form of otherness.
So much of growing up as an immigrant is trying to fit in, trying not to be different, like making yourself smaller, never looking like I belonged in the room.
At the same time, I think we all came here joined by a desire to strive to make ourselves better, to make our families better, or to make society better.
I think we all are immigrants in a way, and we learn from them. It was the country for everybody. It was for freedom and diversity, which I think everybody, every group, every nation should have.
Many of these people are extremely talented, but the transition from their own country to the new country often deprives them the opportunity to fill this potential. I know her New Americans Fellowship has been a mighty force to empower young people through graduate studies.
Philanthropy is not just money, but giving time of yourself and giving yourself. When we started, I wanted to meet each and every one of them. I wanted a personal contact with these people. And to me, continuity above the dollars and cents was very important.
This program was incredibly thoughtfully considered in its design by both Paul and Daisy.
It's a very generous, incredibly generous platform, but it's also a great investment in the country, in the world.
It's incredible that they have funded the education of people who go on to be in the service of all nations. It's a wonderful legacy to have.
20 years ago, my husband Paul and I started a fellowship for immigrants and children of immigrants for graduate studies in any discipline. The fellowship was not based on need, but rather on talent, accomplishment, and originality. We have by now, I'm proud to say, over 550 fellows, many of them graduating from Harvard, Stanford, and Yale medical schools, and other very well-known institutions. We receive about 1,500 applicants each year, and through a very scientific process, we offer the fellowship for 30 students for a 2-year period of time, along with a stipend of $90,000. Actually, one of our former fellows is the present Surgeon General of the United States. These fellows are outstanding people, some having had other help, like being Rhodes Scholars or MacArthur Fellows. We keep in touch with them, and they now have an alumni group which is very active in giving back in a small way to other needy causes. I think to be able to make a difference in people's lives by giving them the opportunity to surge ahead in life is a very satisfying feeling. I am very proud of my husband's idea to establish this fellowship instead of having our name on a building. There are so many needy causes in the world, and I'm involved with quite a few of them. But frankly, I think this fellowship is where I make the most difference. Although I never did become a physician, I pursued my own version of a Hippocratic oath, one that led me down many paths of enabling the world to be a better place. This was and is my driving force and my passion. Together, we can make a difference. Thank you very much.
I am the little old lady who lived in a shoe and had so many children, didn't know what to do, because I am personal with them. And it's amazing, these young people, of what they're doing. We get, at this point, over 2,000 applications. And we take 30 fellows for a 2-year period of time. I talk to each and every one of them. And I really try to always get the background. Why do you study that? How did you get to be interested in that? What was your connection with your grandmother?
They've set up the fellowship to nurture people, and that's huge.
There's something about a fellowship that is really defined by our identity that is just different, and it's about something bigger than ourselves.
The idea is that through their education and with this money, they really get to the point that eventually they can give back to this country.
I think there were many things that just were so thoughtful. The fact that they wanted to support people equally with a commitment to the values of this country, and that commitment could be expressed in a number of different ways.
We have fellows in medicine, we have professors, painters, sculptors, musicians, diplomats, mathematicians. I mean, we have people really who are outstanding. And I think these fellows, they have a dream, they have an idea of succeeding, of making a difference, of having their name maybe in a newspaper. And I think they put much more into their studies, into their work, than the spoiled little kid from New York City.
They've created community that creates resilience for a vulnerable group of people sometimes. And that's remarkable.
Quite a number of years ago, I asked one of the fellows, tell me the difference between ours and the Watson or the Rhodes, because they could get from other organizations help also. And he turned to me and he said, yours has a heart. And so we ended up as being the fellowship with a heart, and that meant a lot to me.
The idea was we wanted to help young immigrants to get the best education and to maybe help them raise their lifestyle. I don't think we could have imagined what the fellowship has become. It is really beyond. My husband, Paul, would have been so pleased and so excited to see the outcome of his thoughts. The idea was also to make a difference in your lives so that you can make a difference in other people's lives and make an impact on them. I strongly believe that it's not just the money we want you to receive from us, but also the knowledge that you are part of a large family and we are there in case you ever need us.
They answer the phone, and I would say, I'm Daisy from the Paul and Daisy Fellowship. And then I say, I have some good news. And they say,
Oh
you've
my
been
goodness.
selected for the fellowship.
No way.
Oh!
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh.
Wow, that's incredible. I don't know what to say.
You just made my day, my weekend, my whole entire year.
And that's a wonderful experience. To make somebody happy or speechless, I love that. That's my type of reaction.
I would never turn down an invitation from Daisy.
If you ever find yourself at a dinner party and you dread going there because you don't know anyone, pray that Daisy is the one you're sitting next to.
It's hilarious. When you want someone to say the thing that nobody else is saying, Daisy's gonna say it, and it's gonna be hilarious, and it is gonna make the fellowship even cozier and more welcoming. She raises the bar for authenticity and truth.
She loves to engage. She's really curious about other people. She is funny as hell.
Nobody's funnier. She could be a stand-up comedian. She's the best storyteller.
She gives and she's loyal and she inspires, but she does it by being fun. So people who get to know Daisy are better people for it.
Above and beyond, the value of the scholarship and the fellowship, the idea that we can all feel proud and feel like we're part of something bigger than ourselves through the fellowship community is a gift that, I think, Paul and Daisy Soros gave to a generation of talented young Americans.
Without the generosity of Daisy Soros and the family, I don't think I would have taken the opportunities that have been given to me to serve in government.
I wrote this email just updating her and checking in on her, and I said, I just want you to know that after 17 years, you're still the North Star for my philanthropic endeavors. I love and appreciate the role that you and Paul and the fellowship have played in my life. With gratitude and good wishes, Allison. She wrote back and told me that I was a morale booster. She's a role model for being unapologetically yourself in whatever room you happen to be in.
I think the words that come to mind are smart. She is very purposeful when she does. We believe life is too short to waste, and what you do, you are meant to do something when you're here on this earth.
When I look ahead and I picture myself at 95, what I kind of hope is that I had what Daisy has. Someone who is so in life and takes advantage of it and gives back and is so involved in society, not just for herself, but also thinks about others. She is a role model.
I'm inspired by somebody who takes real joy in life and lives it with gusto. To be able to combine those attributes with accomplishment is how I look at Daisy, and that's what I admire.
We were not the biggest, we were not the ones who gave the most, but people know about it now because of the type of fellows we have. It's them who made it well known, really, not us. I hope to have them really give something to the world or create something or discover something where on a 1% level it makes a difference. It's personal. I talk to each and every one of them. When they say and when they see me or talk to me, you changed my life. To be able to do that for somebody is just beautiful.